Moving on, talking about the role of DPO, what would it happen when in case a DPO's advice is ignored? Welcome to my YouTube channel where you regularly see new content on data privacy and DPDP Act. And today we are going to talk about what happens when the role or the advice of a DPO is ignored. Accountability would shift, of course, because in any eventuality, DPO would say, I advise this. Someone else had to take decision. Someone else had to allocate resources, allocate budget for the work. The DPO is only an advisory and he is not binding that any impact. Yes, of course, if he does not even advise, he does not do proper assessment, then that's fine. Then he is answerable. But when he has advised something which has been ignored and there is a breach, then the management is questionable. Escalation creates that governance moment. Silence after advice from the leadership. We talked about this last couple of days also. Silence from leadership is a leadership decision, right? It's a decision to be silent. DPDP evaluates response and not the advice. Why? In this particular scenario, when the response has not been provided by the leadership, that becomes important because the breach happened despite knowing that there's a risk, right? Not in general that it evaluates only responses, but in case where a DPO comes up and says, I advise this, they would definitely, and of course, the DPO has to have approve of it. Ignoring advice does not neutralize the risk. It stays there, you would be penalized. Accountability shifts with a very conscious choice of shifting the accountability and not adhering to it. The moment advice is received, the governance responsibility gets activated at the leadership level. The regulators look for, was the advice clear and timely? And maybe what was the time difference between the breach and the advice? Suppose today in the evening I go and give an advice as a DPO, and tonight a breach happens. Then it's not the leadership issue. Leadership would need time to see until unless there is a SEV 1 heavily critical, high risk advice that has come up, gap that has been found, and the DPO calls up an urgent meeting. Right? So that you have to see what is the clarity as well as how much time was actually given to the leadership to act upon it. What is it escalated to the right level? Ideally, the role metric should be defined. DPO should know where to go. Was it documented properly? Was it considered or was it just dismissed? Advice comes in and I dismiss. I don't need this. What rationale supported the final decision? So the decision of agreeing to the advice or not agreeing to the advice, what is it that supported the final decision? And were risks accepted? Were we okay? But did we agree that there are risks and we would be fine taking the risk? Maybe for some reasons leadership decided that. Leadership explained that. Regulators don't ask who advised, they ask who decided. Common leadership responses that increase exposure. We noted it for later. Okay. It seemed theoretical. Well, you need to check very clearly. Business priorities cause delay. Yes, that could be a big reason. But then compliance should also be treated as a priority. We didn't agree with the assessment. And the more important thing is that it is not that compliance is a priority, it is that the risk to business itself is a priority. So the management, the leadership has to weigh what kind of risk it is, and is it okay to take that risk against business growth? If you think, fine. But imagine if something goes wrong, but you are investing in business growth, whether it's time or money, business growth would cease in any case. Leadership says we didn't agree with the assessment. Okay, what action did you take? Did you give the feedback to the DPO that you don't agree because of this reason? You need further details, you need further evaluation. No formal decision was taken. That's very unfair. And we assumed controls were sufficient. Well, then if you're assuming, why are you having people to work? Disagreement is allowed, but the disagreement has to be documented very well. As a governance standard, DPO's advice gets escalated. Leaders must respond and take a decision. Ignored advice transfers the accountability to the leadership from DPO. Decisions must be cautious, conscious, and recorded. Silence does not protect leadership. Right? You cannot say that I stayed silent and that's fine for me. Governance maturity should be visible there, that you're acting as a mature team. So that's about what happens and who becomes responsible if DPO advises and you don't agree or you don't follow his advice. I hope you like the content of the video. Please press the bell and the like icon, subscribe to my channel, and share your feedback in the comment section. Thank you.